If I lost everything today and had to rebuild a brand from scratch and expand it globally again, I would do it very differently to how I would have done it 5 years ago. Not because the fundamentals changed, but because the game changed. And most people are still playing by the old rules. After years of working with brands across dozens of international markets, you start to see patterns. You see what the brands that scale cleanly have in common. And you see what the ones that blow up, plateau or burn cash get wrong. So this isn't theory. This is what I would actually do step by step. No fluff, no filler. If you're thinking about expanding or you're in the middle of it, pay attention. I wouldn't go global. I'd go specific. Here's why. Going global isn't a fantasy. It's not a strategy. The brands that actually scale internationally do it one country at a time, and they're ruthless about which country they start with. I'd be looking at 3 things. 1, where is there already organic demand? Are people finding me from certain countries without me targeting them? 2, where is the low friction to enter? Some markets are a regulatory nightmare. Some have distribution structures that shut out new brands. I'd start somewhere clean. 3, where do my margins hold? Factor in duties, taxes, shipping costs, and platform fees. If the numbers don't work there, it doesn't matter how big the market is. One country, win it, then move. Validate before investing. This is the step most founders skip because they're excited, and it's the step that costs them the most. Before I placed a single bulk order, before I set up a local warehouse, before I committed to anything expensive, I test. Small ad spend, adapted creative, landing page in local language. And I'd want to know, does the product resonate here? Does the messaging land? What's the cost per acquisition in this market? If those numbers look right, then I invest. If they don't, I've spent a fraction of what I would have had otherwise. And I've learned something valuable. Data first, commitment second. That's the rule. Build the back end early. This is the unglamorous bit, and it's the bit that saves you. Most founders are focused on the front end, the ads, the storefront, the launch moment. But while you're thinking about growth, you need to be building the infrastructure that can hold it. And that means VAT, tax registration, and all of that needs to be done before revenue arrives, because fixing it retrospectively is expensive and messy. A legal entity in market, or at minimum, a clear structure for how you're trading across borders. Fulfillment and returns mapped out in detail, because your customer experience post-purchase determines whether they ever come back. Reporting set up so you can actually see what's happening by market, by SKU, by channel. None of this is exciting. All of it is essential. Build it before you need it. I would design the full product flow before launching in any new market. Factory, transit, in-market storage, customer delivery, returns. Every step mapped with a clear handoff, because here's what I've seen kill brands in expansion. Not a lack of demand, not a bad product. Operational chaos that compounds as you scale. You get 100 orders and fulfillment breaks. You get 500 orders and you can't see your margins anymore. You get 1,000 orders and cash flow becomes a crisis because your stock is tied up in transit. Designed for a 10x of your current volume. Because if expansion works, and it should, you're going to need it. I would not try to win everything at once. One market, one primary channel, one clear win. Then, and only then, add the next layer. Open a second channel in market 1, or take the playbook to market 2, but not both at the same time, because scaling in parallel sounds efficient, but in practice, it splits your attention, your budget, and your ability to learn. And when you're in one place at a time, you can iterate fast. You find out what works. You double down. You move. That's how momentum starts to build. Trying to be everywhere at once doesn't create momentum. It creates noise, hassle, and grief you just don't want. Watch cash like a hawk. I've saved this for last because it's the one that ends brands. Not revenue, not growth, not market share, cash. Specifically, the gap between when you spend money and when it comes back. In international expansion, that gap gets wider. You're buying stock further in advance. Transit times are longer. Payment terms with distributors or retailers stretch things further. Meanwhile, your fixed costs keep hitting, one after the other, compounding. I've seen brands with 2 million in revenue go into crisis because they ran out of cash. Not because the business was bad, but because expansion stretched the cash cycle past what they could handle. Their runway just wasn't there. So I'd model it obsessively. What does the cash position look like at 2x current volume, at 5x? What are the pinch points? And a cash flow forecast is crucial. Now, how do I protect against them? Because cash is the thing that gives you time, and time is the thing that lets you fix everything else. So if you're taking one thing from this, expanding a brand isn't about moving fast. It's about moving in the right sequence. Market first, validation second, structure third, flow fourth, scale fifth, cash always. Skip steps and you'll feel fine until you suddenly don't. Follow them and expansion stops feeling like a gamble. It starts feeling like a system, and systems are scalable. Gambles aren't. In the next video, we're going to talk about the thing that kills more brands than any mistake: expanding too early, and why so many founders do it without even realizing. If you're thinking about expanding in the next 12 months, you definitely need to watch this one.